What's up, y'all? In today's video, I'm going to be going over some tips whether you're thinking about starting an Etsy store or you just started and you need some help getting your first sale. But before I begin, my name is Josh, aka Wallamoose, and I post twice a week here on YouTube with videos regarding digital business and entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. I would love to have you along for the ride. But without further ado, let's get started. So Etsy is a great place to start a small business because it's one of the largest marketplaces for people to sell homemade goods. And in reality, anyone can have an Etsy store and be successful with it. There are so many tools integrated with the platform that can really help you out. And they have millions of visitors every day just waiting to find your product. The key is standing out from the rest and figuring out how to target the right buyers so you can entice people who want your product to make the sale. Now, one bonus tip I want to talk about before we get into it is taxes. In the US, as a small business, you're going to have to pay taxes on all the profit you make. So what I would recommend when starting your Etsy store is opening up a separate checking or savings account and then keeping all your tax money on the side. So whenever you make a sale, I would recommend putting 30% of that sale into that tax account. And so when it comes tax time, you won't be surprised and hit with a hefty bill that you can't afford. And I'm not a tax advisor, so I don't want to dive too far into it, but if you think you're going to owe more than $1,000 in taxes, you're going to have to do something called quarterly taxes. So look that up or talk to your own tax advisor and figure out what you should do in your certain situation. So the first tip I have for you is brushing up on your SEO, and this is search engine optimization. And this is essentially how people will search in Etsy and find your product, and how you can make your product rank higher in the search ranking. And I would really recommend you brushing up on this, because when you're getting started, you may not have a marketing budget to run Facebook ads or Pinterest ads, and so you want to find free traffic, and this is a great way to do that. So let's jump in here to Etsy, and I can show you a few different ways that you can rank higher in search engines. Alright, so we're here in Etsy, and the first thing you need to know about SEO is the term keywords. So a keyword is anything you put into a search query that pulls up listings related to that search. So let's go up here to the search bar and click on that. We can see popular right now. So some keywords, back to school supplies, dorm bedding, those are all keywords that associate this term with listings that are relevant to that. So dorm bedding, obviously a lot of bedding stuff. And so when people use the term dorm bedding in their listing, it'll pull up when people search for that. So essentially a keyword is an attribute that lets Etsy know what your product is about and when to show it when people search for certain things. And then a step further than that, there's short tail and long tail keywords. I would focus on long tail keywords in your products because they're more descriptive, and people who search for long tail keywords are more likely to actually buy that product. So a short tail keyword is essentially bedding. And so it's very generic. When people search for bedding, probably they're not going to buy any of these listings. They're going to go to this keyword for ideas. So people search short tail first for ideas, so like bedding, and then get an idea of what they want, and then they can say like, ooh, I really like this brown, actually, I really like this gray one right here. And so what they'll do is they'll go back to the search engine and do like gray linen bedding. And so gray linen bedding is a long tail keyword that is more descriptive. So as you can see, it's more honed in on a specific product. And these are the searches that tend to result in the most buys, because if people search for that, odds are it's what they want right now. And so they're looking through these with an option to buy one. So let's take that and apply it to our listing. So let's go to our shop manager and pull up one of our listings. There's multiple places where you can add keywords to your listings to help Etsy know what your listing is about. So let's go to one of my popular listings, this emergency binder printable. So whenever you're listing things on Etsy, there's a few different places you can put keywords. One, the one people see first is your title. And so I have emergency binder printable in case of emergency printable, and I have a few different long tail and one or two short tail keywords in my title. Now, there's some debate in the Etsy community whether this is considered keyword stuffing. I would not recommend doing this in your description where you just list off a whole bunch of keywords, but a lot of people argue that you shouldn't keyword stuff your title, but it's worked for me. So I'm not going to say which way is better, but having 5 keywords in my title has worked for me in the past. So think about your product, what people will search for to land on your product, and then put these in your title. And then the next place you can put them is your description. And so in the description, I would not recommend keyword stuffing where you just list off a whole bunch, but you can have paragraphs where you integrate a lot of keywords. So within the description, I probably have 5 or 6 keywords scattered throughout, just so Etsy knows what it's all about. And then down at the bottom, there's something called tags. Tags are essentially words associated with your product, similar to keywords, but they're not as long. So emergency binder, printable, emergency printable, a lot of phrases. You can only have 13. So just think about your product and what tags you want associated with it. These will not be seen by the customer. It's basically just telling Etsy what your product is about. And then back up here at the top, it's not necessarily a keyword, but it is an attribute that helps Etsy know who to show your product to, and that is the category. So my category is calendars and printables, calendars and planners. So Etsy knows that it should pull up in those search queries. And so make sure your category of whatever product you're doing is correct. And I don't want to go too far into it. I don't want to make this video crazy long and lose people's attention. So I'll link videos in the description. I've made videos specifically just on SEO. So you can check those out and brush up more on SEO. A bonus tip I will say is at the bottom of your description. I would always link to other products in your store, just in case someone lands on your product. It's not exactly what they want, but maybe something down here would be. So that's just a bonus tip for y'all. Put links in the bottom of your description to your other products. And then the second tip I have for you is getting reviews for your shop. Now I know what you're probably thinking, like, Josh, how am I supposed to get a review? I can't even get a sale. So one of the best resources for you as a growing business is your friends and family. I would go up to them and say, hey, look, I'm thinking about starting a new business. I would love if you could support me and check out my products. I'll give you a 25% discount if you would buy some of my products. And then from there, you can just be like, hey, if you like my product, would you mind leaving a review and let people know what you think of my product? And that's a great way to get your first few reviews. My first review was actually from my wife who bought one of my products, and it worked out just fine. Now, what I wouldn't recommend is going to your friends and family saying, hey, can you write a review, without them buying the product or receiving the product, just kind of a fluff review. That's against the terms of service, and it's just starting your business off on the wrong foot. So make sure they buy it, make sure they enjoy it, and then they can leave a review. And tip number 3 is prepare for seasonal items. So Etsy has a huge influx in traffic around the holidays. So like 4th of July, Christmas, Easter, all the major holidays, there's always a huge spike in traffic. So one of the best ways to pump up your sales is to get products that are seasonal so you can take advantage of these traffic spikes. And this can apply to whatever niche. So like for my store, I run a printable store, so like printable planners, stuff like that. And so I can't really do some holidays, but I take advantage of the new school year. So teachers and students going back to school, I'll do school related things. And so I'll take advantage of that traffic spike. So no matter what niche you're in, you can always find a way to spin that so you can find seasonal products. And then what I would recommend for getting prepared for seasonal products is preparing 3 months in advance. So like figuring out what products you're going to sell, start creating them, start the listings. That way, the early flow of traffic you can take advantage of and then ride it up to the peak. And also that way you can make sure you're prepared in case things get busy. I know things get busy around like the holidays, so like Christmas time. So if you're ready for Christmas products in like late September, early October, you can be confident that you won't get too busy and backed up with products. And then the fourth and final tip is promoting your shop. And this doesn't mean like Etsy ads, Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff. Because again, as you're getting started, you may not have the budget for an ad. But I would recommend you starting a social media account for your shop. And then over time, as you grow, you can build it. Obviously, social media takes a long time to grow. And so first getting started, you're not going to see a huge spike in traffic from this. But 6 months down the road, if you're consistent with it, you can see some residual traffic. Now, as far as which platforms, I would always recommend setting up a Facebook page. However, I don't know how effective having a page is for like building an audience. I would simply recommend you having a Facebook page so that you can reference in the future, and if you do want to run ads, you can have it ready to go. But as far as pages where you can upkeep it with content, I would probably stay away from Facebook and Instagram just because they're oversaturated and really hard to build an audience from scratch. What I would recommend is thinking about the more obscure social media platforms, so like TikTok, Pinterest, and any others like that. I will say TikTok is probably one of the best social media platforms to grow a quick audience and really have viral traffic to your product. I see all the time Etsy small business owners posting on TikTok about their product, and people be like, oh man, that is awesome, I want to buy it. And it just goes viral, they make so many sales, and it just like kicks off their business to a great start. So definitely check out TikTok, see what other people are doing, but if you're kind of intimidated by video, Pinterest is also a great place to start. So I hope this video helped. I know there's only like 4 or 5 tips. I'll link other videos in the description below with more information. I know I've done a video on privacy policy, SEO, so if you want to dive further into any of those topics, feel free to check out the description below. But as for this video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more content like this. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.